What if I told you that some birds build nests that rival human architecture? That there's a bird that sews its nest with precision stitches, another that constructs clay houses in trees, and even some that decorate their nests with flowers, plastic or shiny blue objects just to impress a potential mate? Why do some birds dig deep tunnels underground? How can others build enormous communal nests that weigh over a ton? And which bird makes its nest entirely out of its own saliva on vertical cave walls? Bird nests are not just places to lay eggs. They're brilliant works of evolution, designed for survival, attraction, protection, and even art. In this video, you're about to explore the most fascinating, bizarre, and ingenious bird nests from around the world. And I promise, once you see what these birds are capable of, you'll never look at a nest the same way again. If you're curious about nature's hidden wonders, don't forget to like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel, so you never miss another fascinating episode. Imagine building your home on a constantly moving surface, unpredictable, unstable, and surrounded by predators. That's exactly what some birds do when they create floating nests, structures that rest gently on the surface of lakes, ponds, or marshes. One of the best examples is the great crested grebe. This elegant water bird constructs its nest by weaving together aquatic plants, reeds, and debris into a floating platform. The structure is usually anchored to submerged vegetation, allowing it to rise and fall with the water level, a natural defense against floods or changing tides. But floating nests are not just clever, they're vital. They offer two major advantages. First, they reduce access for land predators, since many animals can't reach nests surrounded by water. Second, they stay cooler and more humid, protecting fragile eggs from overheating or drying out. However, there are risks. A sudden wind or heavy rain can tip or sink the nest. That's why species like grebes constantly maintain their nest, adjusting it throughout the day, adding new plant material, reinforcing edges, or moving it slightly to follow the best position on the water. Some floating nests are even built by both parents, who take turns gathering materials and guarding the site. It's a constant effort of balance, literally, and a clear example of how even the most serene-looking nest hides an ongoing battle with nature. In the calm mirror of a pond, these floating cradles reveal just how far birds will go to keep their future safe. Even on unstable ground, high above the ground, swaying gently from the tips of tree branches, you'll find some of the most impressive avian architecture in the world, the woven nests of weaver birds. These small songbirds, found primarily in Africa and Asia, are famous for their incredible nest-building skills. Using just their beaks, they collect strips of grass, palm leaves, and fibers, then begin to tie, twist, and weave them into hanging spheres or domes. Each nest is tightly constructed, with no glue or mud, just precision and patience. The male usually does all the building, often crafting multiple nests to attract a female. If she doesn't like his work, she simply moves on, and he starts again. But it's not just about beauty. These nests are engineered for function. The entrance is typically at the bottom, which helps keep out rain and makes it harder for predators to get in. The tightly woven walls regulate temperature and provide insulation, and the hanging position keeps the nest safe from snakes and ground threats. Some weaver birds even build colonial nesting sites with dozens or hundreds of nests clustered in one tree, turning it into a bustling avian neighborhood. The level of detail and complexity in these nests rivals that of human basket weaving, and all of it is done without ever having seen a diagram or blueprint, just instinct passed down through generations. The weaver bird's nest isn't just a shelter. It's a display of talent, determination, and silent persuasion. Not all nests are found in trees or floating on water. Some of the most fascinating are hidden underground, complex tunnels and chambers dug by birds that prefer the safety of the soil. Species like the kingfisher, Burrowing owl and sand martin dig deep into riverbanks, dunes, or loose soil to create their nests. Using their beaks and feet like shovels, they carve narrow tunnels that can extend more than a meter into the ground, ending in a small protected chamber where eggs are laid. These underground nests serve multiple purposes. They provide thermal regulation, keeping eggs cool during hot days and warm during cold nights. They also offer strong protection against predators, since it's nearly impossible for snakes or larger animals to reach the end of a narrow, twisting tunnel. In some cases, dozens or even hundreds of birds nest side by side, each with its own tunnel in the same cliff or embankment. This creates impressive nesting colonies, almost like apartment complexes carved into the earth. The burrowing owl takes it even further. It often reuses abandoned burrows from prairie dogs or other animals, sometimes expanding or improving them. And remarkably, it lines the entrance with animal dung, not for decoration, but to attract insects, which the owl then feeds to its chicks. These hidden nests remind us that birds are not limited to trees or skies. With determination and instinct, they become earth-moving engineers, adapting to their environment in the most unexpected ways. In the rural landscapes of South America, especially in Argentina and Uruguay, you might spot something unusual sitting on top of a fence post or utility pole. A round, mud-covered structure, almost like a miniature oven. That's the nest of a hornero, also known as the oven bird. These birds are master builders that construct their nests out of mud and clay, mixed with bits of straw and other natural fibers. Using only their beaks, the pair works together for days or even weeks, shaping the wet material into a hollow dome with thick walls and a narrow entrance. The result is a solid, durable nest that looks almost like it was made by human hands. Once dried by the sun, the mud becomes as hard as concrete, providing excellent protection against predators and extreme weather. But the hornero doesn't just slap together a pile of mud. Inside the dome, there's a curved inner hallway that leads to the nesting chamber, a design that helps insulate the interior and protects the eggs from wind and rain. These birds are so famous for their building skills that they're considered symbols of hard work and patience in local culture. In fact, the hornero is the national bird of Argentina, and its nest has inspired everything from poetry to architecture. What makes these nests truly remarkable is their permanence. They can last for years and are sometimes reused by other bird species or even by small mammals or insects long after the horneros have moved on. In a world where nests are often fragile and temporary, the hornero's mudhouse stands as a monument to craftsmanship and durability. In the vast savannas of southern Africa, there's a bird that builds something so massive it can be seen from the sky. Meet the sociable weaver, a small bird with one of the most extraordinary nesting behaviors in the animal kingdom. Instead of building individual nests, these birds cooperate to construct one giant nest, often on utility poles or large trees. The result looks like an enormous haystack, but it's actually a fortress of interconnected chambers, housing dozens, even hundreds of birds. The structure can weigh more than a ton, with over 100 nesting compartments inside. It provides shelter not only for the sociable weavers themselves, but also for other species of birds, reptiles, and even mammals, forming a kind of living ecosystem. Each chamber is lined with dry grass and feathers, keeping it insulated. The outer chambers stay cooler in the day, while the inner chambers retain warmth during the cold desert nights, a perfect adaptation to the extreme environment. These nests also offer protection from predators. The only entrance is a narrow, downward-facing tunnel, making it hard for snakes or birds of prey to enter. And when one bird spots danger, it sounds the alarm, alerting the entire community. Over time, these super nests can expand for generations, with new layers being added each breeding season. Some have been in use for decades, passed down like apartments in a giant bird metropolis. They're not just nests, they're testaments to cooperation, endurance, and intelligent design in the natural world. It may sound strange, even a little gross, but some birds use their own saliva to build nests, and these nests are not only structurally impressive, they're also highly valuable in some parts of the world. Meet the swiftlet, a small bird found in Southeast Asia. These birds build their nests high up on the walls of caves, often in complete darkness. They don't use twigs or leaves. Instead, they produce a gelatinous saliva that hardens when exposed to air. Over several weeks, the swiftlet builds its entire nest out of strands of hardened spit, layer by layer, until it forms a small cup-like structure, sturdy enough to hold eggs and chicks. What's even more fascinating is that swiftlets use echolocation, like bats, to navigate the dark caves while building. Their clicks bounce off the walls, helping them find the perfect spot and avoid crashing into obstacles. These nests are so unique that they've become a delicacy in some cultures. In China, bird's nest soup made from swiftlet nests is considered a luxury dish believed to have health benefits. This has led to entire industries harvesting the nests, often at great risk, as workers climb steep cave walls to collect them. However, due to over-harvesting, conservation efforts have emerged to protect swiftlet populations, including sustainable nest farms, where the birds can build and lay eggs safely before nests are collected. These delicate structures, born from instinct and saliva, reveal how far evolution can push creativity, and they remind us that even the most unusual materials can become a foundation for life. Imagine a bird that doesn't just build a nest, it designs it with a sense of aesthetics so refined it could rival human interior decorators. That's exactly what bowerbirds do. Native to Australia and New Guinea, bowerbirds are famous not for their nests, but for their bowers, elaborate structures built purely to attract a mate. The male bowerbird spends weeks crafting a tunnel-like or arch-shaped structure from twigs, carefully arranging each piece. Then comes the real magic. He decorates the area with brightly colored objects, blue plastic bottle caps, flowers, berries, feathers, and even bits of glass or metal. What's fascinating is that each bowerbird has its own artistic style and color preferences. Some focus on symmetry, others organize their items by size or shade. And if a rival bird steals or messes with his design, he'll rebuild it, sometimes obsessively. But here's the twist. These bowers are not nests. The actual nest for raising chicks is built elsewhere. This display is pure performance, like a peacock's tail or a dancer's moves. The better the bower, the higher the chances of impressing a female. Researchers believe this behavior shows a form of sexual selection, where artistic ability becomes a marker of genetic fitness. In other words, creativity becomes survival. Bowerbirds prove that beauty isn't just human. In their world, a well-decorated space can make all the difference between loneliness and legacy. Imagine a nest so intricate it looks like a tiny basket hanging from a tree, swaying gently in the wind. Now imagine it was built, not with hands, but with a beak. Meet the weaver birds. Found across Africa and parts of Asia, these small birds are master architects. The males are responsible for the construction, using blades of grass, palm fronds, or strips of leaves, weaving each strand through knots and loops to create hanging enclosed nests that are both beautiful and functional. Each species of weaver bird has its own style. Some nests look like teardrops, others like round pouches. They're usually suspended from thin branches to keep predators like snakes away, and the entrance is often designed to face downward, a clever security feature. Weavers are meticulous builders. If a strand is out of place, they'll remove it and start again. And here's the twist. The quality of the nest often determines whether the male will attract a mate. If the female doesn't approve, she'll simply fly away, and he'll have to rebuild from scratch. In large colonies, trees can be filled with dozens, even hundreds of these hanging nests, creating a mesmerizing canopy of tiny, swaying homes. It's a remarkable example of natural engineering, precision, and design, all coming from instinct, patience, and a lot of hard work. In South America, particularly in Argentina and Uruguay, there's a bird that builds like a mason, not with twigs or feathers, but with mud and clay. Meet the hornero, often called the ovenbird, due to the shape of its nest. Horneros collect wet mud, mix it with grass or straw, and sculpt it into a rounded dome that looks strikingly similar to a small clay oven. Each nest is painstakingly built over several weeks, drying under the sun layer by layer. But this isn't just a pretty structure, it's a fortress. The interior contains a curved tunnel leading to the nesting chamber, which helps regulate temperature and protect the eggs from wind, rain, and predators. Once it hardens, the nest becomes almost rock solid, durable enough to last for years. These nests are often perched on fence posts, power lines, rooftops, and tree branches, blending human-made environments with natural instinct. And what's more, horneros are faithful partners. They mate for life, and both male and female work together on the construction, often reusing or renovating old nests instead of starting over. In countries like Argentina, the hornero is even a national symbol, not only because of its beautiful song, but because of its diligence, craftsmanship, and cooperation. Among all nest builders, the hornero might just be the one with the most earthly touch, turning mud into shelter and instinct into art. From towering mounds in the outback to nests hidden behind waterfalls, birds prove that nature is the ultimate designer. Each nest tells a story of environment, survival, adaptation, and even love. Some are built for protection, others for display. Some take weeks of tireless work, others just minutes. But every single one reflects a perfect balance between form and function, instinct and innovation. It's easy to think of birds as simple creatures, but their nests remind us of something profound, that intelligence comes in many forms. And sometimes it's measured not in tools or language, but in the ability to turn the world around you into a home. So the next time you walk past a tree or glance up at a rooftop, remember, behind those twigs, leaves, or even balls of mud, there may be a story just waiting to be discovered. Now it's your turn. What's the most unbelievable bird nest you've ever seen? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who's as fascinated by nature as you are.